We're in Saudi Arabia, the land of Midian. This could be, on this natural rock formation, the place where Aaron built and they worshiped the golden calf. You can see this bull petroglyph in front of me. There are scores of these all over this rock formation here.
Who's going to tell him? Who's going to tell him that an indigenous animal that is a antelope, which is indigenous to Saudi Arabia, they almost went extinct up until the 1970s, and then except for in zoos, and then in the 1980s they were reintroduced into Saudi Arabia as a protected animal. But who's going to tell him that the drawings on the walls, those petroglyphs, are probably, most likely, and are definitely onyx? Exactly, they're onyx. Matter of fact, they're called white onyx. These are antelope that you can easily find in the history of Saudi Arabia that have been around for thousands of years. And they were around during the time frame of the so-called exodus of the Israelites out of Egypt. But of course, as Christians do, and Christians must always do, they try to take something that they know is not real, they know is not true, and they want to make it as part of their Bible. He tried to say that this was a bull, a cow, and they worship Hathor because the Egyptians worship Hathor, and the Israelites, being in that area for so long, would have worshipped Hathor as well. And they when they took all the jewelry and Aaron made into a golden calf, and then they drew a sign on the wall so that you can see that they were worshiping a golden calf. But what you have is onyxes littered all over that area. Seen them myself back in the early 90s. And at that time frame when I was Christian, I bought into the bullshit. And then about 30 minutes later, it was explained to me that those were ancient petroglyphs of onyx, of an antelope that runs wild in Saudi Arabia, that they've had in that land for centuries upon centuries and thousands of years, millennials. They have had those in their area. So they might have been worshipped because during that time frame, the people, the Midianites, the Moabites, the people who would become the Arabs, that they worship many deities, and that was a symbol of their type of deity worship. But the onyx is not a cow. What bull have you seen that had horns like that? And that is more of a representation of what was drawn on those walls. So again, these Christians, like that gentleman who is trying to keep going keep the fire lit from Ron Wyatt's bullshit, now is trying to say that the onyx. This is why he said maybe, possibly, because he knows that if he says definitely, that he has painted himself into a corner, and that this is just more realization of how Christians try to take actual history, actual archaeology, and make it fit into the Bible, try to jam it in there, because they know beyond any shadow of a doubt that there is zero proof of an exodus ever happening. So what do you guys think? Is it a golden calf that they were drawing on those walls? Or was it the white onyx? Now, always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.